The Festival of Democracy is in its second phase. Voting is on in full swing across 95 parliamentary constituencies, 11 states, one union territory of Puducherry. The trend so far indicates that the voting percentage or the voting turnout is almost similar to what was in 2014. And I'm joined by Jaiveer, Shergill and from the Congress and Swadesh from the BJP. And we're going to talk about the voting percentages so far and about the fact that the turnout almost seems similar to what it was in the last election. What do you make? I mean, if it was a higher turnout, lower turnout, you can at least, give a sense of where this is going. Similar turnout, what do you get a sense?
I think first, without the politics of it,
yeah,
I think two things mark today as special. Number one, since I'm sitting with you, I must tell you, kudos to Election Commission. Today, Manipur is witnessing all 76 booths which are just run by women themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
yeah.
Out of 1600 women booths, 76 are pure women polling officers. Secondly, I think we should also pay homage and respect to a lady polling officer who lost her life in a Maoist attack in Odisha. Third, as a youth, I may be biased. See, it stands the numbers. It is pretty much close to what phase 1, phase 2, juxtaposed with 2014. But I sincerely hope the first time voter, the 8.1 crore odd first time voter, sliced in all the different 7 phases, they go to vote. So for me personally, more in-depth analysis which will come at 6 o'clock. I'll be more interested how many first-time voters actually went to the polling booth.
Right.
How many women went to the polling booth. Secondly, I think electorally, this barometer has thrown certain interesting things. Sometimes high voter or Congress or a BJP will say it's in my favor or their favor. It completely does a somersault flip. So I think let's wait for the results to come. But it's good, it reflects that our democracy is resonating, vibrating. Fingers crossed for Srinagar. Last time it was only 7.3% odd voting when Mr. Abdullah contested.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope for the sake of Srinagar, democracy there, people repose faith in our system, higher system, and the voting turnout is better.
But sadly, so far, the trends from Srinagar still indicate that the voting percentage is still quite low there. Last I checked, it was about 5% or so.
That is indeed unfortunate.
Unfortunate, yes, definitely.
Would you totally agree with Jaiveer? Means who is emerging victorious out of this whole exercise is democracy of this country. If you see in the last phase, we saw that pictures from Bastar and pictures from Baramulla where people were dancing, and that was the dance of democracy. That democracy is emerging out as victorious in this gigantic process, and we should definitely congratulate our election commission officers who are making all effort to democracy function. So
both Congress and BJP, seriously praising the election commission, but that has not really been the narrative so far this election. The election commission has come under a lot of flack for not acting on various issues, for faulty EVMs, and just this morning there were reports of faulty EVMs or EVMs not starting off on time in various constituencies across Tamil Nadu, across Uttar Pradesh, and so on and so forth. But this sort of blame game, I mean, both of you are praising the election commission, hats off to the election commission, but that's really not the narrative that's going around. What do you make of the blame that's being apportioned to the election commission for the process A not being fair and biased towards a particular party, and about these faulty EVMs on the other hand?
Means we should always have faith in these kind of neutral institutions like Supreme Court or Election Commission. Means if you question Election Commission, so you question the democratic process of this country. Means there might be exceptions of a couple of EVMs. So if you see not any other leader, but the movie and Prime Minister Modi was banned by Election Commission, and there are other examples also where Election Commission was so fast in having ban on BJP leader, or in Arunachal Pradesh we saw that from a vehicle of Arunachal CM money was recovered. So these kind of activities were definitely done by, so whether it's income tax department having raids in different parts of country, means Congress leaders are saying that why not a single BJP leader was
and which is a fact. I mean, not just Congress. So I think I heard Kanimozi this morning after casting her vote, she said the same thing.
Let me tell you, means during election time when code of conduct is in place, so this income tax department or ED, they work in collaboration with the Election Commission of India, not with Government of India. So we should not question Government of India if they are having raids on different individuals or leaders. So it's a due process what they are doing.
Let's check with Jaiveer what his point of view on this
I think when you credit me with or compliment us crediting Election Commission. I think Election Commission is always judged on 3 parameters. One is the logistic, one is the procedural, one is the political. My compliment to the Election Commission is on the logistics aspect. Politically, I think Election Commission has faulted in its dharma of ensuring a level playing field rather than it is yielding to the higher power. And I can make you count 4 or 5 specific instances, starting from the date of election results being, dates being announced. It was fine-tuned to Prime Minister launching his flagship projects or ribbon cutting exercise. Second, when my friend talks about Namo TV and the movie, we approached the Election Commission, but they were sleeping. After the Supreme Court in para number 4 directed the Election Commission to look at this issue, that's when they woke up from their deep slumber sleep.
Right.
Number 3, look at how the law is changing color in implementation and execution when it comes to opposition in government. Today, an Election Commission officer is suspended for searching the helicopter of the Prime Minister. But he is applauded for searching the helicopter of the Odisha Chief Minister. And being a lawyer, again, it's not a Congress versus BJP issue. I must tell you factually, when income tax raid happened, Election Commission themselves had to write to the IT department, please take our officer along too.
Exactly.
So that is not a set law. Number 3, I think the larger message, and on a very lighter note, he used the word, you can't question the government, I think 5 to 6 times. I think the day we stop questioning the government, we transform from a democracy to a dictatorship.
Right, questioning
and not about questioning government, because election is going on and Election Commission of India is the supreme body to conduct this process.
And just I'll make a last comment. Please, I think this system of questioning the Election Commission, Mr. L.K. Advani led the bandwagon. 2008-9, he was the one first running to the court saying let's have a paper ballot. Secondly, the Supreme Court order which has come yesterday, when we went for ensuring 50% VVPATs, you know who was standing next to us arguing the same very thing? Mr. Subramaniam Swamy. And Election Commission was opposing it. If today Election Commission cannot uphold the faith that we will have VVPAT, what is Election Commission's hesitancy reflects their biasness and favoritism.
Election Commission's biasness, favoritism, this is a constant narrative that is coming across. But having said that, there is also a fact that you pointed out that there have been cases against, for instance, for the biopic, for instance, that's one area where the Election Commission did not act as far as quickly or as fast as it should have without the Supreme Court's intervention. Today again, they've watched the film, they are going to be coming out with an order on it. What is the expectation as far as the BJP is concerned?
Means those who talk about freedom of expression and Article 19A1, so they should also give that this movie should come out, because if a person who is director of that movie, if he can write an article, if he can make a series on, and that could be released on Netflix, so why can't a movie could be released in cinema halls?
But there is no series that is released on Netflix which is related directly to the life of the incumbent.
So it all come under the ambit of freedom of expression. So if you must have seen that movie Udta Punjab, that was related with the drug problems of Punjab, that was released, and there are many issues. If there is any right called freedom of expression, so that this movie also comes under right of freedom of expression. Okay, it's not about Modi or any other movie.
We've heard both points of view on this concern, and I think the jury is still out which way it's going to go. So let's move on to another issue, which is the violence that is taking place, and as we speak, maybe in West Bengal, and specifically in Raiganj. That kind of, would you still support a Mamata Banerjee or a TMC despite the kind of violence that is being witnessed in Raiganj? Where EVMs have been smashed, where they've been thrown on the floor, and I was seeing these visuals which were coming in from there.
See, I think the primarily responsibility of maintaining the law and order in this situation is the Central Reserve Forces, which are reporting to the Election Commission. Point 2, if anybody from any political party is found guilty of intervening in a peaceful process of voting, they should be held up according to the rule book of law. And number 3, I think now this is also a wake-up call for the Election Commission and our Central Reserve Forces, who are vying for one nation, one vote, XYZ, that we need to strengthen our forces to ensure a peaceful process. Lastly, I think before as you used the word jury earlier, before the jury is out on this, have an investigation, whether it's Congress, BJP, TMC, BJD, any individual, hang them according to the law, so that a stern message is said that EVM or Election Commission is not a free-for-all where you can come and disturb the process.
But the CRPF deployment is another issue which the BJP has approached the Election Commission for. Would you like to?
Yes, means if you say means central forces have definitely been deployed, but you cannot deploy central force jawans at each and every step. Means I am giving you latest news in Purlia, in Senabona village in West Bengal, Purlia. Means our Karyakarta's body was was found hanging on a tree. It's the latest news just 1 hour back. Where is the news? There is no news. Means you are referring another news. So these kind of incidents are happening in different part of Bengal, and the opposition parties like BJP or Congress and CPM, they all are suffering. So they should come together and report to Election Commission of India. Look, this is what happening, and democracy is being killed by TMC goons. So this is what happening in Bengal, and we should all definitely take a serious note of these things. And we also saw in Panchayat election that on 34% seats there was no opposition candidate because of the gundagardi of TMC goons.
But what do you? I mean, yes, we understand that topic, and yes, as he said, that there needs to be an investigation into this, and then you figure out and hang the perpetrators, whoever they may be, whichever party they may belong to.
You know what happens with election violence? Means after elections, no one
Nobody
checks
really.
because no one cares. Means about all these monies or about all these violence. After election, what happens? Not election commission is the top boss, but the government of the day is the top boss. So always no result at all. So we have to come up with new process for this thing. Even after election, whether money was recovered or some violence took place, we should have some check and balance.
And
on
I
that.
think you would agree with us. So there is a valid point which he is trying to make here.
No, see, there are a whole lot of issues. If you have a violence complaint coming from West Bengal, you also had a VVPAT malfunction or somebody saying I'm pressing X button and it is going to BJP. So I think we need a health checkup for all these processes. Election Commission has come up with new apps where you click a photo, it's
And send
reported
it.
and immediate action is taken. Yes, I think post actions are a classic case of operation successful, patient dead. You know, that is a classic case of that.
Yeah.
So a timely intervention, timely setting of example, timely inquiry all across from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and I think that will start a healthy process, act as a deterrent, leading to even candidature disqualification if they're supporters of X or Y party.
All right, and I think that's a fair point, and that's both of you are on agreement on that point.